Hey, you guys. Good morning. It's Friday morning, and I'm wearing a cap because I'm probably having a bad hair day here. But yeah, I've been reading the little comments that you wrote and thought maybe I should try to be responsive. I'm going to go through them in the order that I'm holding them, and see if I can add uh, some response. I enjoyed yesterday, by the way, very much. Thank you for your kind attention. Uh, I really mean it. So Alvin Yee says that after listening to this talk, he figures he'd better go check out our own island as far as its beauty goes. Yeah, Alvin, I'd say yes. And start perhaps with our own campus. You know, you walk that main central quad of the campus there, or go down to the east-west center and look at the gardens behind the center. Maybe take out your smartphone and take a picture or two and send them to somebody you love. Because I'm telling you, if you just stop to smell the roses, we're in the middle of beauty here. Russell Antonio. Russell, you commented that you really liked the adapted van. I think you're referring to the one that my friend Sterling is driving in Oklahoma City, and that I'm hoping that Brian will one day soon drive into our parking lot there at Wist. Yeah, technology is an amazing thing, and we got a lot of creative people out there trying to make the world better. You asked me if I regret anything. I think the correct answer to that, Russell, is that I have thousands and thousands of regrets. If regret means I should have done something better or differently. I didn't end up killing anybody, and I hope I haven't really hurt too many people. The thing about regret is you want to reframe it. You want to look at your life and examine it, and then figure out how you can do better today. So that's, I guess, what I've tried to do. Think about what's happened during the day, and maybe make a strategy that'll make me smarter for tomorrow. Amanda Chu, you noted that I've had many friends with disabilities, and I think that's true, Amanda. When you get into a profession, we talk about setting boundaries. You've got your professional life, and then you've got your personal life. My boundaries have always been a little bit clouded. I work with people, and I have tended to build relationships that have extended beyond the workday. You also mentioned legacy. I used to think legacy was just for kind of egotistical people, but the truth is, we're all living a life, and we'd like to leave a little footprint behind, if nothing else, for the people we love, our children, grandchildren, friends. Carrie Anderson, you said to live a life that you love. And I totally embrace that concept. Get into something that you can really enjoy, and then just run with it. Don't just take a job because you think you need it. Richard Radke used to say to kids that it's not just getting a job in this world, it's getting a career. A career is way bigger than a job. We've all had many jobs, but if you can see your life as a path, even if you don't know where that path will lead, everything you do will sort of fit one day. Michaela, if I'm saying that correctly, you wrote that bad things happen and great things can come out of it. You know that's true. Tested by fire. You also wrote there's good in everyone, just depends on how deep you look. I grew up in Oklahoma, and one of our heroes was Will Rogers. He was a cowboy philosopher, and he used to say, I never met a man I couldn't like. Now that didn't mean he liked everybody, but it meant that he had a belief that if you looked deep enough, you could find goodness. I'm not sure how to say Niaya's name here, so I'm sorry if I'm screwing up your name, Niaya. You wrote that there's great people in this world. There are great people. That's true. And when you see someone that seems to carry a touch of greatness, hang around them, right? Let some mana rub off on your shoulders. There's greatness in all of us, by the way. It's circumstances that bring them out. You also said don't promote this thing called shame. You know, we all carry it. It's on our shoulders. Shame. Shame on you, shame on this. Hannah Sinclair talks about the power of helping. It's fun to help others. Children like to do that. We all do. Helping is a fun thing. I guess the jargon word for it is service, a life of service. I think that's been my track in life, is to serve, and it's been a good road for me. You also used the word appreciation. Quite a number of you did. Thank a teacher. Think back in your life, somebody who was a good teacher for you, and maybe send them a note. You're young enough now that your teachers are probably still alive. Every now and again, you get someone who reaches out of nowhere and says thanks to you. And I think that's a big part of at least our teaching profession, a big reinforcer. You asked, how do these people in your life affect your character? You know, Hannah, life is a crapshoot. You have no idea what affects your character. You just live it and then let others decide what it is about your character that's noteworthy. That's what I've decided. Kelly Johnston, you know, she says that you learn a lot from traveling and you learn a lot from people. Just a note, traveling is a great thing for some of us. I mean, I've really had a lucky life and I've gotten to cover a lot of miles, I guess. But you can also travel in your mind. You know, I know this better now that I'm getting older. I love my living room, the best place of all, just sitting in this rocking chair, thinking about things and looking at pictures on the internet and even watching television. Several of you asked me where I got the pictures. I didn't take all those pictures. I got them off the internet, and I should have told you that. I just didn't think to. I kind of look at Google Images as being owned by all of us. You know, it's our world. Yeah, Kelly asked me what inspired me to get into this type of work. I have no idea, Kelly. My mom was a teacher. My dad was a doctor, a physician. So I kind of came out of, you know, that kind of a service-oriented world. But I have no idea what really pushed me along. If I'm pronouncing your name correctly, I'll say Lana. you note that sometimes you have to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. That's true. Sometimes it is just easier to stay in bed, but that doesn't make it better. My friend Richard Radke used to say that traveling was arduous for him. Arduous. Sometimes he didn't appreciate the trip until weeks after he got back to Hawaii and had time to feel better, get his health back, and then think about the trip. You also talked about appreciation. I do believe that if there's any one driving force that can energize us, it's saying thank you, appreciating, and noticing that small victories are usually the best we can do. You asked me what is my favorite place that I have traveled so far. I don't think I've got one. I think the more I've traveled, the more I've just appreciated the beauty of our Earth. This little planet. I just saw the movie The Martian, and I loved it. But I will say, this little blue planet is probably the gem of the universe. It's the best we've got. And I don't care where you are, catch a sunset or a sunrise or look at a cloud. Bianca, thanks for those jokes. I honestly didn't get the first joke, but I didn't quite hear it too well. Maybe you can let me know. If I could hear the joke again, I think I'd probably have laughed. You wrote, your tribe attracts your vibe. Your tribe attracts your vibe. I was trying to think what that means. You're influenced by the people around you, and the people around you bring out the best that's in you, or bring out what's in you. In other words, we're very social creatures, and we're not just judged by the people, by the company we keep. That's what my mother always used to say, you're judged by the company you keep. But we become the company we keep. You asked me if there's any funny story about Brian Kajiyama. I am not sure. I think if you ask Brian, he might have some good stories about being locked in the office and maybe even locked in the bathroom. There's something about doors when you have a disability, is when you're in a wheelchair, that can be a total pain in the butt. Ask Brian. Selena. Yeah, Selena took note of that story of Vicky Raw, the blind girl who asked me if everyone had a belly button. Selena made note on that. Just how lucky we are that we have all of our wonderful senses and we're able to, learn so much. Please know that Vicky is a gifted young woman, and blindness is difference. It's not necessarily loss. And even if she didn't know whether or not we all had belly buttons, she knew lots and lots of things. She was the best listener I think I've ever known. That girl could listen and remember. Selena also thanked me for coming to the class. Yeah, thanks for saying that, Selena. I could have very easily said I won't come. The lazy part of me said, man, don't prepare another talk. But, it's, looking back on it, I'm glad to have done it. Evelyn writes that even handicapped individuals can travel the world. You know that. And now with media, we can all travel even in our own homes. We've got lots of resources now to appreciate this world. And she says we can have wonderful stories to remember and tell. And that's kind of something we start to appreciate more as we get older, that our lives are our gift. That's what gives us a chance to savor our lives. My phone's ringing. Just a minute. All right. Well, I'm back from that phone call. A recorded call from Long's Drugs telling us that our prescriptions are ready. Hello. This is a note from Shannon Bartlett. Shannon says you can work your way out of most any situation. I don't know what triggered you to say that, Shannon, but you got to see this movie, The Martian. I really mean it. This guy's stuck on Mars. He works his way out of every situation. She writes, the people you meet and the places you go will become your entire life one day. And she says, where are you going to live next? Shannon, I think if I have my choice, I'm going to live in a retirement home about 100 yards behind this condominium where I live on New Uanu Street. I love Hawaii. My wife does too. I can't believe I'm going to move anywhere else. Tiffany Johnson. She says to enjoy life for what it is. A person is a person, and we each separately have our own disabilities of some sort. You know, Tiffany, not only do I totally agree with you, and add that we each have our own abilities, disability is built into the human species. It's built into us. So if nothing else, just wait till you get old, and you'll see that the body breaks down. The mind starts to wander. Disability is part of the existential human experience. Tiffany asked me, what is the scariest moment I've experienced in my life? I don't know. I was taking Sterling down the Poly toward Kailua one day, and the brakes nearly went out on his van. I was riding the brakes. That scared me. We smoked the brakes. Natalie Norman. She says to take the opportunities that we're given. You know, opportunities are here in front of us every day. It's just that you don't see them. They're subtle. It's like a book. Books are really boring just to hold, right? You got to open them and work at it, and then you discover there's this amazing thing in there called the book, the story. Natalie talks about passion. After class yesterday, Rod, the man I mistakenly called Dave, oops, just a second here, I'm going to stop. Well, after that little interruption, I just made coffee for my wife. Back to Natalie Norman. She talks about wanting to go to Canada and Norway. You go, girl. Get yourself a ticket and fly. She also talked about passion. And yesterday after class, Rod, the man that was sitting in the back of the room, he's a friend of Brian's and mine, and I called him David. That's how embarrassing these situations get when you get old. Anyway, he commented too that he appreciated the passion that I present. I hope you don't lose it, you guys. She says, what's your favorite place on the planet that you haven't lived in? Well, I think I know some places on this planet where I don't want to live. You know, the ones that are racked by war. That's the big one for me. We've got a bumper sticker here in our house that says, I'm already against the next war. It's a beautiful earth. I've said it before. I'm not sure I care where I live, as long as, you know, we can have a little peace and quiet. Alyssa, she says keep a positive attitude. A positive attitude. I really think Alyssa's said it my belief to a T. Enthusiasm's another word, Alyssa. Enthusiasm. Even if you're not feeling it, fake it a little bit. She says, "What's your favorite place to be?" I've kind of responded to that. I'm not sure I could name that. Did I take the pictures myself? No. I mean, a few of them, but no. It's humbug when you're finding pictures on the internet to try to give credit to the photographer for every darn picture. But now with photo recognition, just trust me, you can find the author of those pictures if you want. It's not hard to do. Alyssa also says, "What's my favorite quote?" I take from that, Alyssa, that maybe you like quotes. So do I. So does Brian, by the way. Brian lives on quotes. I don't know that I've got a favorite quote. I'd have to really think on that. I sort of look at quotes in contexts and people. So if I'm doing my writing, which I love to do, if I'm writing about Ray Charles, then I'll do a search on quotes from Ray Charles, and then I'll find something that'll just, bring tears to my eyes. So I don't know, just as there's a huge range of people and places, there's a huge, beautiful resource of quotes. Quotes are like little poems, aren't they? Molly Taylor. She talks about connecting with others. A number of you use that word, connections. I guess I think of them as strings, little threads that tie us together. She says, "Go out, take some risks, care for others." She also really liked the pictures that I chose. When we're watching TV in the evenings, most of the shows that I see on television are boring. I've got my iPad and I choose some theme or topic and I just start looking at pictures, swiping through. And then when I see one I like, I save it. There's millions of new photos coming onto the internet every day. Laney Savage. Gotta love your last name, Laney. She says, "Keep it simple." She says, "It's amazing what you can accomplish if you work hard enough." God, how true is that? When one of you asked if I have any regrets, it's that I didn't really know how fast life goes by. I had no idea that I would turn 60, whatever I am, 68, 69 years old so quickly. Holy crap! But there is time. I said that yesterday. You got time. If you live on this earth 70 years, 80 years, it's a lot of mornings to wake up and ask yourself what you're going to do. Megan Kellum. She says, "Open yourself up to new people, lifestyles, and experiences. Open yourself up. Little things have the greatest effects." And usually that's all we can do. We're not out, climbing Mount Everest, for God's sake, but we are maybe making toast for a friend that we've invited over for breakfast. She makes a really good point. She says, "What's wrong with the word leprosy? It's a disease." She says, "I get that we shouldn't call people lepers, but the disease itself, is that so poisonous to say the word leprosy rather than Hansen's disease?" My only comment, Megan, I agree with you. I mean, to say that a person has leprosy, the way you say it, the context you give it doesn't sound bad to me. But the word leprosy, I think for Makia Malo, the man I was telling the story about, it's just that it brings back so many bad connotations from antiquity through the ages. Leprosy and leper. I don't know the origin of the word, by the way. She says, had I interacted with people with disabilities before I became a camp director? The answer is no. I don't think I had a clue what a disability was. I think in a way it was a godsend because I hadn't made a big deal out of it. You know, you can't see, well, close your eyes, you can't see. Can't hear, cover your ears, can't hear. Can't talk, shut your mouth. You know, I mean, I kind of had it in my mind that maybe these weren't such big deals. So that's everybody's comments. Thank you for writing them, and yeah, wish you a great semester. And you know, there's a saying in Spanish, a toast. It says, "Salud, pesetas y amor y tiempo para gozarlos." Health, money, and love. Health, money, and love, and time to enjoy them. Oh, learn another language, by the way. Yeah, learn another language. That'll open up a door. All right. Shaka.